Oh, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Earlene, are you excited to be back in the studio?
I am so excited. You know, we've already moved past the Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We are big drawn into 2025 now.
Yeah.
You take your tree down yet?
Yep. Already gone.
Me too.
Got it.
Got it down.
It's gone. You want to move yours a little closer? Your mic. Yeah, there you go. I know you were. I said be comfortable. Yeah, but
you know,
it's all good.
I'm slouched out here because you know, I thought, oh wow, snow day. At 38 years as a teacher, snow day means I get to stay home, stay in my company, drink some hot cocoa by the fire.
Yeah.
But no, now I'm an editor.
Now, no, you got work to do. Chop, chop.
It's a good thing I have that big vehicle to drive, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't wonder where you got that thing from.
I wonder where.
Well, I know where you can get some great insurance. You know, we got special guests today.
I'm so glad.
Yes, we have John Beavin and we have Jeanna Turner here from the Meade County Farm Bureau. John, I'm so excited to be working with you, not only professionally in business, but personally, working with the insurance. You know, it's a whole mess when you start laying out all your stuff. And I actually had a great experience because you were going through my stuff and you said, hey, have you read this? And I was like, well, yeah. And, you know, he kind of goes into great detail as to, like, you might want to take just verify. And then we run the numbers and you do what you do every time you look for insurance. But it was so much more personal. Yeah. And the experience of going in and getting to see you guys was phenomenal. Actually, I mean, and of course, Tessa that works there at the front, you know, she sings on the stage with me and worship at Journey and stuff like that. But we're so glad to have you guys on the phone. Well, I mean, on the show. Welcome.
Yeah, Steve, we appreciate you having us out today.
Yeah. So what is, I mean, outside of my own personal experience, but going to see you guys at Farm Bureau, tell us a little bit about what Farm Bureau's mission is.
Well, that's a great question, Steve. You know, people have asked me how long have I been with Farm Bureau?
Right.
Well, I'm second generation agent with Kentucky Farm Bureau. So I'm like, how long have I been contractor or with the company? Because I was riding alongside Greg Beavin, going out looking at claims when I was, 8, 9, 10 years old. So, I've been around this organization all my life, and it's more than just insurance. I mean, we have a Kentucky Farm Bureau is a member service organization that does a lot of great good for the Commonwealth, along our ag community, and a lot of other consumer stuff. And we have a local board that we've always worked very, very close with. And it just so happens that one of the largest member services of Kentucky Farm Bureau is our insurance programs.
Right. Well, and you have several agents. Jeanna, you're here today. How many other agents help support your hub?
Well, there's myself.
Yep.
And Jacob Bewley is in our Flaherty office.
Okay.
He's fairly new.
Yeah.
Jacob's coming up on 2 years.
Just a little over a year now.
A little over a year.
That's where you were kind of working out of until your dad retired, right? So
yes.
A little known secret: Greg Beavin is John's dad. If you've never watched the show or don't know Farm Bureau or Greg's history, but personal story from your father was when I first started, taking on this monster called the newspaper, and then everybody getting to know who I was. Of course, I was getting to know everybody else, and some of your baby blankets you never got to use. And a sad story, but in the goodness of your dad's history with Farm Bureau and his service to the community really started back right at the tornado of Brandenburg.
Yeah, really. I mean, he started with the Kentucky Farm Bureau in 1974, and I think in March. And just a few weeks into it, we've had a F5 tornado that ripped through downtown Brandenburg. And it just so happened to be that particular day was my mom's last day working at the courthouse, which was downtown.
Yeah.
And they hustled everybody. Judge Greer hustled everybody into the vault. Tornado went over top. They were actually having a baby shower for her that day.
Yeah.
I was born a few weeks later. So, it was, as you'd say, baptism by fire for my dad in the business.
Yeah.
And it really kind of changed the dynamic of what, we do this. And insurance itself is we are basically have a contractual obligation to our clients. We're basically selling a very intangible product. It's a promise. And, I don't know if you trade promises with people, but if you can't trust the person that you are having that contract with, that promise with, it's really not worth that much.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that was a really eye-opening experience for my dad at that time, that all of a sudden he was called upon to help fulfill these contractual obligations for a very, very, community that was wrenched by this tornado.
Yeah.
And, Jeanna and I have had the experience over the years of having to come in and deal with people at times of tremendous loss. And those are the things that I think are most memorable to us.
I was going to ask you that, Jeanna. Like, there's got to be some really tough calls that come with this job.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. But those people, they not only are our customers, they become our friends too.
Yeah.
So it's so much more than insurance in a lot of situations. I know that sounds kind of corny, but it's really true.
Yeah.
And you do have to tell people difficult things sometimes.
Yeah.
But you have to do it in the most human way possible.
Yeah. I think that's
doesn't make it easier.
No, coming from a military background, it's not. It's easy to forget that there's a human underneath the uniform.
Sure.
I've long stood by that. Human comes first, and that you have to treat people with dignity and respect. And having the newspaper, it's the same. I mean, I'm out there taking. Shots all the time, you know what I mean? Because still trying to earn trust.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine that when you start off as an agent, how long it takes to get that. Now, Farm Bureau's brand has that trust, but what people don't know is the lengths that which the agents are willing to go to develop that relationship for the long haul. And I think that's the interesting part that comes in when you're looking for an insurance agent is where am I on the table? You know what I mean, Earlene? It's like what is my experience like? And you don't get that a lot of times. When you're in the military, you got like different insurance companies and they're nationalized and you just make a phone call and they just kind of follow with you. And I've been in insurance situations too, because you leave the state, it has to switch. And then you're starting a whole new policy and nope, you don't get those silver points and all that other stuff because you switch states. And I'm like, that's like a lot of money, because you don't get to unpack your last box and hang out with. But how many, well, I don't know if you can go you service a lot of the area, but it's not just insurance. What else do you guys tackle?
Well, we do all of our personal lines coverage at home and auto insurance. We also do commercial insurance to a limited amount.
Yep.
We are, I do investment work for people. I'm registered rep there. Jeanna and I both do life insurance work as well.
I do not do investments. I want to make that clear.
You don't have your Series 7?
That's right.
I got
not
it.
for me.
I have my 6 and 63. I don't have my 7. So,
okay.
And then we do health insurance.
Yep.
I do all levels of the health insurance. Jeanna does a limited level of that. Jacob, I won't teach him that yet. It's a very complicated product.
Yeah, I bet.
It takes a lot of work to get into it. And, it is so interesting. And when we hire Jacob, it's such a long-term commitment to hire a new agent because there's so much knowledge that Jeanna has over 30 years and I do over 28 that you just can't pick up overnight.
No.
So you have to pick up and do things that do it well. And as I've told Jacob, I've told all of our staff members, this is don't make it up. This is too important to make it up.
That's right.
Somebody has the right answer. So if you don't know,
don't misquote. Yeah,
that's
right.
exactly right.
Heck,
Misinformation.
We have to ask. I mean, it's a constantly changing business.
Oh, yeah.
It's never the same.
Federal regulations always, cause problems too, or people are trying to do their best what they think is, and then some people are maybe not so much. But, it's funny you talk about that because, like, I've had in this studio, Senator Meredith, Nancy Tate, and our elected officials, and they're talking about the things like with Medicare and Medicaid, and then changing how many people we have like that. And then it's like the little trickle effect that impacts so many other industries when they make decisions legislative. So it's like they try to make a good case for before we make a decision to do something because it's going to impact you guys as far as how do we do this now, or you used to be covered, now you're not because somebody legislated differently. Do y'all run into that a lot?
Oh, sure. I mean, the law of unintended consequences happens every time the legislature or even our own insurance companies when they make changes and whatnot. And, that's probably one of the unique things about what Jeanna and I have.
Yeah.
We've got our CEO's cell phone number on our phone.
That's good.
And if we called him right now, he would answer the phone.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the kind of relationship that we have. So we're all on the same team, but there are some times where somebody in management might be making a decision that we as agents who are dealing with our clients on the local level are like, you know what, have you thought about this? And sometimes we can back them down and we can get them to slow down and reassess. And that's such a neat tool, neat thing for our community to be able to have. And I don't know if Jeanna would agree with this or not. I mean, 15 years ago, I would have told my kids, no way, don't get in this business. The internet's going to put us out of business. But you know what? In the last 5 or 6 years, I believe that our customers appreciate being able to call and get a human to answer the phone.
Yes.
To be able to walk in and open a door and have a human greet you with a smile and say, can I help you? And then have a professional literally sit down and go through your coverages and try to help diagnose, whether you're cheap or not, it doesn't matter.
Right.
If you're not properly
the service is not there. Sometimes if you're going to pay $10 difference, even in a policy, it's worth to have the customer service.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't recommend this. But this is just a testament to how our customers, I think, most feel about us.
Yeah.
I have had people, shouldn't tell it. I've had customers hand me cash in the grocery and ask me
beep it. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
No, really. I've had customers in the parking lot of Save-A-Lot inside Kroger hand me money and say, "Can you take my premium tomorrow?" That is not advised.
No, yeah, I got you.
But if that gives you
it's a level of trust that you have. I'm going to take your money and go put it on your policy.
And me as your manager hopes that you did not take that. And no,
he didn't know.
I did not do that.
Well, I see people in Kroger all the time when I go grocery shopping. In fact, I get a lot of feedback. And actually, we've gotten a lot of great feedback on the work that we're doing with the paper. But to your point, we did digitize a lot of things. The one thing I wish I could have here constantly, and because it's like baling wire and duct tape, if you don't know how crazy it is. I mean, you came in the new office location. We are all never always here at the same time because we are all out trying to do things for the paper, and it's like baling wire and duct tape. And so every conversation is important that we have, but sometimes we miss it because we just can't keep somebody here on the phone. So now we carry it around on our cell phone.
Right.
The office will ring here and it'll ring to us on a cell phone too. So we at least try to get back to the message, but it's so important, right? Because we'll get that complaint too. Nobody ever answers the phone. Well, we're not always there, but we.
Yeah, and I think that is what we have tried to do with technology is to make our personal availability even greater.
Yeah.
Right. So yesterday we got a bunch of snow.
Oh yeah.
And I went to the office. I told everybody else to stay home.
Yep.
We've got our computers set up where they could take payments over the phone. When you called the office, you didn't realize that you were ringing right into somebody's cell phone, unless Ellis was breaking something in the background.
Right.
It was so peaceful for me at the office yesterday because, we have such a good time at the office.
Yeah.
I got some work done. So, it's been really, really nice to do that. Now, here's the other side of it. Technology has also made it very, very easy for the corporate interest out there to minimize their cost, thus causing their customers more time.
Yes.
You go through the phone trees.
Yep. And you get disconnected, and you've been on there for an hour, and then you got to do it again.
You got to push 1 and then 3 and then 1. And then, you know what? You get the same person.
Yep.
Just answer the phone.
Yep.
And it's so frustrating to me. And I think that when I have to, one of the reasons that I have so many clients that want to deal with me on health insurance is that I'll go through and deal with a lot of the stuff that they don't want to deal with, as far as they just, John, can you just help me take care of this, and I'll do it.
Now, you do health care for small businesses too.
I do.
And plans, right? So, that's something, hopefully one day when we're all big and famous media, from Meade County, that's a tough, let me tell you, this is a tough egg to crack, right, Earlene? I mean, we're getting pounded all the time because, first of all, we have the label of the media, right? Which I think we've done a great job this year with the paper, as far as we're trying to be community based, as political as I could get. We've left a lot of that out. Unless you're an elected official, we'll put your legislative updates. Sheriff could call me tomorrow and say, Steve, I want to put something in the paper. Yes, sir. Tell me what it is, and we'll get it in there. You know what I mean? These are people we voted on, and to your point, we put our trust in, or at least the people have spoken. So we've kind of removed a lot of that. And because of the digital, we've actually had a new group of readership because they won't read the paper from cover to cover, but they'll read about, a son or daughter and stuff, which is actually helpful to folks, your teams out there in the different businesses, because it helps us put that advertising right up in front instead of being on B6 and your stories on A1. So this has been helpful. But Earlene and I have been facing. I mean, a ton of questions. It's like building trust every day.
Every day. I like it when you said something earlier about when you give a promise.
Yeah.
Right.
Your promise. Your promise is your word.
That's right.
And basically, that's all we have is our promise. Lots of times when I have to explain a situation to a customer, or somebody's called in with a concern or something, I'll say, well, let me tell you what's happened. This isn't an excuse. I'm just explaining to you what happened.
Yeah.
And then we'll figure out a way to make this right for you. And that lots of times that just simmers people right down because they know that we're listening to them.
Yeah.
One of the great things about everything that we have going on with our business is we are Meade Countyans. We love being in Meade County. My husband's the general manager of Doe Valley, so he's got a big population there to deal with. Stephen he and his wife own another business that is very customer oriented and very important.
People love their pets.
Yep. And, our staff are all like Meade Countyans. We have a vested interest in making sure that we are collectively supportive of everybody. We want to be collectively supportive of the businesses here, the people here, the kids. I'm very passionate about getting the high school kids, the middle school kids out. Anytime somebody calls me and they want us to cover something, I try really hard to get it covered. It's different than it was.
Speaking of covering, I should get our sponsors in here pretty soon.
You probably should discuss that.
Let me get them in real fast. Hey, I just want to say thanks to Raise Ford for sponsoring this week's episode. If you're going over there and you're thinking about it's the new year, my wheels are tired, I need to get a new ride, go see Keith on the sales floor. Not only do they have great variety of vehicles, but they also have great service. If you need an oil change and you're showing up for work, well, they'll come pick it up from your office, and you don't have to leave work. You just hand them the keys, they'll bring it back, call you over the phone, pay your bill, and bam, there's that technology again. We also have Joe Redmond, who is your local handyman. You can call him at 270-668-2858 for any of your handyman needs. If you've got a landscaping project or a deck you need built, or maybe some fixer-upper work in the house, Joe Redmond's your guy, and we want to thank him for being one of our sponsors this week. Our next sponsor coming up is Hubrees. They are in the Doe Valley Swim and Tennis Club, and you can go there after 5 every day. The gate is open, and that's another restaurant option in our local community. They actually also do catering, and I've been at a couple of their events. They do a really good job. If you haven't been there, you should really go. John and Jeanna.
Or they can cater anywhere.
Oh, yeah, they can cater anywhere, but the food is great. They have a great, sense of menu, I would say, and they got some pretty good ice cream too, I think.
So that's the same people that have the food truck.
Yes. Yep.
They did ice cream at my daughter's wedding. They had a great.
All right. Yeah.
Really good job.
And Pollock's Appliance, they're also one of our sponsors. You don't have to go far to get your local appliance or get your appliances repaired. If you call Pollock's Appliance at 270-668-8292, they service what they sell, and you can also check out what they have online at pollocksappliance.com. For all your appliance needs. And that's what I love about our small town. We got a little bit of everything. You don't have to go far, and you can get what you need right here. I want to come back into John and Jeanna, and I want to talk about where do you see yourself going? You've got the reins now. Your dad is retired. Of course, I know he's a friendly phone call away, like your CEO is. How do you feel now that you're in the different seat now and kind of handling things?
I have said for a while, Steve, that I thought I had the best job in the country, in the company.
Yeah.
Right, Jeanna?
I still believe that.
Yeah.
I have the best job.
Yeah. And I left the best job in the company to do what I'm doing now. Although it has been a wonderful transition.
Good.
People ask me, say, "Oh, you got big shoes to fill." I was like, "Look, we don't wear the same shoe size."
Yep.
I mean, I am not filling those shoes. Greg was one of a kind. He was kind of a legend with our company, and loved the job.
Yeah.
And I know that yesterday when the snow comes, and I think he was disappointed. I didn't call him earlier on and just tell him how things were going. You know? So he is still very, very invested into to our success as an agency.
Well, that's your dad.
Yeah, for sure.
And he cares about all. I mean, I saw Greg's passion a year ago when we were sitting down, and just to get to know you guys and your family, and then the love and support that came to Greg through all of the retirement, the surprise retirement, and all of those things. And I think we had the Secretary of Agriculture come down and spoke, and then we surprised him. Well, you surprised him, but. Jeanna, you were going to say something?
I was just going to say, John won't brag on himself, so I'll brag on him, and I don't do it too much, but I will. He's done a great job.
Good.
It has been seamless. You know, things that he could tweak, I think he's tweaking. I think he's innovative. He's kind of a techie where most of us aren't.
I gotcha.
So I just want to brag on him. It's been a very seamless transition.
That's good. Well,
I'll slip you 50 later.
Okay, nice. Well, you know, that's important for people to know. I mean, yeah, you don't wear the same shoes. Yes, the legacy is there, but you kind of pave your own way, but you also have built a legacy. You didn't get to the spot of your dad's position without having already created, you know, generationally customer base and all that other stuff. So you're still the same you, but you just have a lot more responsibility.
Well, you know, Steve, I was thinking about this too, and I think Jeanna would probably agree with this. We were both, I mean, she was an athlete. I played athletics, but she was an athlete. So you played the Sweet 16, right?
Final Four twice.
Final Four twice.
Yep.
Okay.
Wow.
And I was fortunate enough to be on the 92 team that played. It was the first time that Meade County football had gone to the state championship.
Okay.
Now, I will say this. One of the reasons I'm back in Meade County is because of the tremendous community support that followed us. Can you say that, Jeanna?
Amen.
Yeah.
Nobody does it better than Meade County, and I will go to the grave saying that.
So, I mean, I think
I will too, actually,
Yeah,
just so you
it's
know
true.
that.
I've seen too many other places that don't do what Meade County does.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I just think that support within this community was so, when you are on the stage as an athlete, even if you're on the bench, no, I mean, but
I know what you
I'm
mean.
saying.
I do.
If you're out there and you witness all these people that are coming out to support you, you kind of feel like, man, I want to give that back. That's where I want to raise my kids. So that's where I think that's one of the reasons that Jeanna and I are doing what we're doing, where we're doing it, is because we just love this place.
Man, I'm telling you, I tell this story, the same story all the time, and I'm an outsider. Trust me, I take a lot of flack about it. It's hard to explain to people when you've been everywhere or the many places that you've been, and then you peel this onion back. It doesn't take many layers before you start to see the truth of what Meade County has to offer. And there are not a lot of places left like ours that are this true. You know what I mean? And that's one of the reasons why I love doing the work we're doing right now. I get to talk about people like you guys that are doing this great service. Yes, it's a business, but there's a little bit something more to it for you guys, and that's what I want people to know.
Well, you know, something else too, Steve, and since you guys have the military background, is that for 26 years I was in Flaherty.
Yeah.
And that Flaherty, that southern Meade County community, it's very few Meade County people there. They're mostly people that have been transient from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Who came to that part and realized what it almost kind of a melting pot.
Yeah.
Itself and people, how much they care for their neighbors, and it just became this growing community, and it was really kind of neat to see that as after graduating college to move down and to be part of that community in St. Martin's Church, and just a wonderful group of people down there. And we have those pockets all throughout the community. Yeah. But it's we have one high school, which is neat.
Yeah.
You know, all these things that kind of keep us tied together as a community. It's just such a neat thing. We're really glad to do that as business.
Yep.
Not too many people can be business professionals and can say that their territory is their home.
Right.
That's right.
And that's it.
Yeah.
That's exactly how we feel.
Yeah.
Now, I know we opened it up to our neighbors at Fort Knox, but we've actually gotten a lot of attention in Meade County because we've actually showcased Meade County to our residents at Fort Knox, and I hope that helps drive more like-minded folks to be part of this community too, that want to continue to carry a torch. I want to just say thank you for, one, the business this year and the support you guys have shown the Messenger. We absolutely love the work you're doing. But you said earlier it's a membership. And so when you actually become a client of Farm Bureau, you actually are also becoming a member. And in a lot of ways, this organization does a huge fight at national and at local to help fight for our farmers. And honestly, that community is being held together by a few generations left in Meade County, because we get them all the time. The properties are up for sale and kids don't want to move back home, but because of that membership, we still get to fight for these farms. And while somebody may buy them up, some farmer will lease it. And I had the distinct privilege of working with Billy Sipes this summer, and I actually got to ride in a combine. So I know we have hardworking, dedicated farmers. They're actually sitting in an office in our county, as a Esquire Billy Sipes. And he's hardworking. He's out there farming. He's not the only one. There's many like him. So if you do become a member of Farm Bureau, I think I said this to you the other day. It's the quote that was on Yellowstone. The one girl, Beth, was getting arrested for speeding in Texas, which I don't know how you can get a speeding ticket in Texas. The speed limits are like 85 miles an hour.
I got a speed.
Yeah, did you? Yeah. Oh, I believe that. But the lady said, your husband works for 4 6s, and of course I know where 4 6s, that's up in Lubbock and everything else. And she said, yeah. And she said, thanks for his service. She said, why did you thank him for his service? Honey, because around here we know what it takes to put food on the plate. And if you don't respect that, whether you're a farmer or not, just know that having your membership with Farm Bureau Insurance is what also helps put food on that plate, and also helps go up against the other companies and stuff that want to make shortcuts for what needs to be grown from the ground. So I thank you for that.
That's absolutely true. And Kentucky Farm Bureau is a completely grassroots organization.
Yeah.
And it starts at our county board level, and then they elect a representative to sit on their district board level, then all the way up to the state board level, which is such a great group, and we've got a great board.
Yeah.
And Fred L. Sipes is our board president. We've got a lot of guys who've been on the board for a long time, but we've got a lot of new energy out there.
Yes.
Alex Richardson is just he and his wife were Young Farmers of the Year.
We ran that story.
Yeah.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
Highest yielding crop per square foot or per acre in the entire country. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I've been out to that farm several times.
Let China try to come in here and buy some land. I'm tell you what. No, I told Troy, I said, Troy, you need to go in. If you want to make a national statement, if the state won't do it, then you do it. You go in there and make an ordinance that says you can't buy any farmland if you're not a U.S. resident or an entity of the United States of America. I said, you put that down on paper and then see if you don't make national news for Meade County and what we're willing to do to hold our ground, if you will.
We love great growth, right?
Yes.
We want quality growth in Meade County. But that quality growth also comes with protecting our farm ground around here. And we're going to have to make some investment in infrastructure within our community, so that in order to have a house, you don't have to have an acre and a half. You can do it on a quarter acre.
That's correct.
And that's going to preserve a lot of farm ground.
That's correct
as well.
I said that 4 years ago when, was it in 2020? Yeah, it's been 4 years. And I was saying the same thing. We need to have conservative growth that focuses on, we can't keep doing Band-Aid projects that only get us through. It needs to be long term, because we're going to grow. I could see us being almost 60,000 probably by the year 2050, which is only 25 years away from now. I mean, that's my kids coming out of college, right? And they're left with what we have on the bag. So the decisions they're making now, you're absolutely right. and they affect every business we have and our community. And Earlene, that takes me back over to you real quick. You know, there's been a lot of things going on. If you don't know, John and Jeanna, we have a community section in the paper where we talk about who's got what coming up. Absolutely free to put that information in there so that we can help publicize those community events and projects and stuff. But you've got that coming up, and there's a surprise on the NIE section now.
There is. We have updated our NIE. We've added
News and education.
Yep, news and education, which is widely accepted at the Meade County schools, and several levels of grades do it. We have some middle school teachers who have requested it, high school teachers as well as the lower grades. But yeah, so just in the past week, the one that's coming out, the issue that should hit the stands tomorrow. I keep thinking today is Wednesday because we've had such a crazy time.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, I know. Even earlier today, I was walking around. I said, "Where's the newspaper?" He said, "It won't be here till tomorrow." And I was like, "Oh yeah."
Well, it comes today on the truck over at the post office.
Exactly.
We actually met our deadline on Friday, so we're starting to get the groove on. And we didn't miss the first week this year, thank goodness. That was a little bit of a transition last year.
Anyway, so we've updated that, and we took we've had a crossword puzzle for a while, but we've added Sudoku to it. We've added a word search to it. We've upgraded our kids section. So it's more interesting. It was just getting a little bit stale. We've added a couple of things. I went last night, like pretty late last night. I just popped on and said, "Hey, we're going to start doing a birthday contest. You know, send in to copy@themessengerkentucky.com. Send in your birthday. So if you have a birthday in January, send it in. We'll run it the week that it's your birthday, and on the last day of January, we're going to pull. We've got a sponsor.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to say the sponsor yet?
Yeah, you can say the sponsor.
Okay, Burnett Embroidery.
Burnett Embroidery.
Right. Did I say it wrong?
You did.
Okay.
That's all right.
That's okay. He's here to correct me when I do that.
No, you're good.
Anyway, Mark came in.
She corrects me too.
All the time.
We're like siblings.
Anyway, so Mark came in and he thought this up, and we thought, well, that's a great idea. So on the last day of each month, in January, February, March, for sure, we're going to take all the people who have given us their names and their birthdays, and we're going to pull it, and they're going to get something from Mark.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
really
so
cool.
that's pretty cool. So we're I want to bring back where people remember back in the day when we got engaged. So was
absolutely.
engaged.
Oh yeah,
Mary?
wedding announcements.
Nobody does anymore.
Yeah.
We're going to do that again.
Baby announcements.
Also,
Yeah.
somebody completes basic training. I want their picture. So last night I was kind of blowing up a couple of the newer, like our social platforms, just saying that we were going to do this. And we've already got back a huge amount of feedback on that.
So a couple ways you can actually submit stories to us. You can actually go to our website at themessengerky.com. We've had over 1.5 million views of our website in this year alone. So we get a huge amount of traffic that's varied from just the paper print. And in that traffic, you can also actually go to our submit forms. And if you had a story you want to submit, you can upload a photo. You can put your story in. We get a message saying that there's a story uploaded, and we'll review it and consider it. We do features. I think we're going to change the name of it from features to opinion.
Yes. It wasn't features. It was.
Oh, that's right, not features. It was oh my gosh, yeah. It's going to. We're
changing it.
We're
to
removing
opinion.
the confusion.
Yes.
It's an opinion section. So
It doesn't sound confusing at all.
no,
I know,
it did.
no.
It did.
Yeah.
I didn't like the word that we were using, so I was like, "Can we just clarify what this is?
I
It's an
think
opinion,"
it's
because I don't want
editorial.
people.
I think we called it editorial. We're changing it to.
Well, no, editorial is an editorial, but I forget what we called it. I'm having one of those brain moments.
We are.
That's the wonderful thing about a podcast. It can go on for 3 hours if you want it to. But
And we can entertain people with this. People can go, oh look, it's Earlene and Steve carrying
yeah,
it again.
yeah, and cutting up. Yeah. The paper is out this Thursday. You can get it at your local newsstands, or you can subscribe. You can also subscribe online at the Messenger KY. And then you also need to go check out our friends over at the Farm Bureau.
Yes.
John and Jeanna, and their other agent who is in Flaherty. What was his name again?
Jacob.
Jacob. Yep. I think I met him. Was he? He was at Greg's.
I'm sure he was.
Yeah. I've met so many people in such a short amount of time. I'm still trying to remember names.
Jacob served our country, did 4 years, and I recruited him out
He's still in the reserves, I think.
He's
Yes,
yeah.
good.
He is, yeah.
So
I'm not trying to promote Troy Koch here, but he's the reserve ambassador. And what that job does is he actually protects all of our reservists and their employers. Like if they had to deploy, because there's employers out there that would actually like, oh, you're in the reserves, yeah, and then not give them raises and all that other stuff. I know that's not, but I'm just saying that ambassador job, there's a lot of folks that serve in the reserves, and I think that's an honorable way to continue service.
100%.
Yeah.
Agree.
And but it allows you to also move on with your personal career and goals too, because like you said, 30 years plus in the business to get to know the product, and it changes all the time. So it's like you have to read stuff. You can't just like get an 8-second soundbite on Facebook.
Gina's got 30 more in her, I think.
Maybe 6.
Maybe 6
Maybe 6.
retirement. Well, I did 32, so I know how that feels. And I'm taking what I learned from the military and I'm using it today. Still community service, so.
Well, I tell you what, guys, I do appreciate putting community back in the community paper.
Thank you.
I think that's
Thank you.
doing the wedding announcements and
Yeah.
things like that. That's the reason that people go
Well,
out and
as
pick
so
up
many
that paper.
people have
Yes.
said, do you remember when we were kids, they would have that little thing, so somebody from Rodelia, they would call in, they'd say, my Aunt Martha came over and had Sunday.
Oh, I
remember
remember-
that? And we
yes.
all read it.
Yeah.
So, so many people have said to me, you need to get that back and,
Yeah.
and write it exactly the way it was back in the day.
Miss Bet Woolfolk
Yes.
is who wrote that.
Miss Bet Wilfolk.
Miss
Okay.
Bet Woolfolk. That's right.
Well, she took phone calls. People would call in and she'd write down what it was, what happened in Painville, what happened in Flaherty, and all that stuff. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're getting back to some of that grassroots. I think you're going to see a difference in printed papers in the next few years. There was a cycle of cadets that just went through summer camp, at Fort Knox last year. And I had a good conversation with their sergeant major, and he said, we went to a lot of expense to build all these apps and make everything digital, and all the kids wanted it on paper and printed. You know what I mean? Which is promising because there's a generational maybe a generation of readers, and all of our librarians and folks that have been working real hard to keep that going, we'll start to see that. So
one of the things I want to say, and this is a perfect example of why it's so important that we have our home town newspaper. For one thing, we're one of very few
locally owned
self-published papers left in America. Most of them have been bought by huge conglomerates, and they're just like grabbing stuff and putting it in, and very little
attention,
personal information like we're doing. So back in December, right after Thanksgiving, I covered a story for a family or for a situation that was just across the river.
Yeah.
Before you get to Corton. And it was a grassroots ministry that this family was doing, and it was amazing. So, and I just happened to stumble upon it, wrote the story about it, and he said, "Do you know, nobody has ever written about us. This is our 6th year to do this."
Yeah.
And it was just phenomenal. The whole story was, and they were right there, and they have a newspaper, but they don't own the newspaper. The newspaper is not locally owned, and they don't get in a whole lot of locally owned information. So.
Yeah, and again, if we don't know about it, it's hard to get written. But if you tell us about it, we will draw the right amount of attention. I know we've helped several nonprofits this year
for sure.
that have made themselves more aware, and our businesses too. And in fact, if I wanted to call you guys, how would I get in touch with you? What's the number?
Brandenburg's 270-422-3979, and Flaherty is 270-828-4600.
Very good. I think for the future, I look forward to working with you guys again, and helping get the brand out there for what you guys do. And the brand is not just Farm Bureau; it's the relationship that comes with the service. And I am super happy to be here with you guys. Earlene, on the final thoughts for today, do you have any outputs you got for the paper before they get it on the shelf?
I do. The paper that's coming out tomorrow. It's a lot of new year, new you, new things that we can do. One of our writers highlighted several different places right here in town, or in Meade County at least, that you can do. So a lot of people feel like they have to go into Radcliffe or Fort Knox or whatever. We have a ton of stuff that you can do right here to help. So I'd pick that up and read about it. There's a couple of new things that are going on as far as citywide, countywide, things that are happening. We mostly concentrated on it being a new year. And so that was kind of the theme of the paper that's coming out. Our theme, kind of, for the paper that's coming out next week is we're doing a lot of stories about the snowstorm and common sense stuff, what to do if you lose your electricity.
Our linemen.
That's right.
Yeah.
What to do if you get stuck in the snow, that sort of thing. Because they're predicting that we're going to have 2 more snowstorms just between this Friday and the 18th.
Oh.
Not big.
Hush your mouth.
That's what they're saying.
Hush your mouth.
I looked on 3 different apps before I came in today because I'm writing memories of the blizzard of 78.
Oh, well, so I'm excited because you know what that means? You two can have a Bronco like mine that climbs through ice like nobody's business. All you got to do is call Ray's Ford for sponsoring this week's episode.
Just make sure your wife knows you're doing it.
Oh, yeah, we have this debate. But listen, if it's not a Jeep or a Bronco, they've got other lineups on their lot. Check them out. Ray does a great job. First of all, tremendous amount of respect for what he's doing and taking over his dad's business. His dad, I got to meet him before when I was stationed here before, and just amazing history. Joe Redmond for sponsoring this week's podcast as well. 270-668-2858. For all your handy person needs, sometimes you just need somebody else because you don't have the time to do it all yourself. Yep. He's the perfect handyman for helping around the house and getting those final jobs that you wanted done. He can do landscaping. He can build a deck. He won't till your garden, but he will help make repairs. Terry Woobry with Doe Valley Lakeside Bar and Grill for sponsoring this week's episode. You can contact them at 270-422-3981 for catering information, or you can just stop by and enjoy their menu.
Wednesday through Saturday they're open, and it's open to anybody. You don't have to live in Doe Valley.
Gates up. You can go in there, and you don't have to pay an extra tax if it, because it's not in city limits.
That's right.
Just kidding. And then don't forget about our fancy friends over at Pollock's Appliance, because they've got the fanciest appliances that you could ever need. They've got a great showroom, and then they service what they sell. You could go to www.pollocksappliance.com. You can check out their lineup for refrigerators, stoves, microwaves, everything, you name it. They also do repairs of your appliances. So if you think it's still good and you don't want to have to go buy something new, yes, it could be as simple as a capacitor, and they'll take the back off, put one in, and slap it around and make it good to go again. Earlene, final thought.
You guys stay safe. I mean, it's still really cold. We're not supposed to have temperatures above freezing for several days. Make sure you're safe. Make sure you're checking on your neighbors. Make sure you're taking care of your pets. Don't leave them outside if you can help it. I mean, try everything to not help it.
Yeah.
And then just be kind to each other. One of the things that was great about yesterday was just the community involvement, the way everybody was looking out for each other and checking on each other. And,
yeah.
Hey, I'm running into town. Does anybody need anything? That's what Meade County is its strength.
It is. And if you want an agent who's going to call you when something bad happens, you want to get in touch with Jeanna, Jacob, or John. There's a lot of J's in this relationship. I see in the picture and the pattern, John. It's the JJJ.
JJJ show.
JJJJ.com. No, just
Hey, unhook your water hoses, folks.
Yes.
That's right. Do it.
Yeah, because you don't want to have to call John or Jeanna or Jacob to tell them that you have that water overage that comes in your policy to do it's actually the backed up pipe one.
Well, and don't just drag in your kerosene heater that's set out in the garage for the past 5 years.
Yeah, service it.
Fresh kerosene in and fire it up.
Yeah.
Somebody did that.
And let me tell you, the safe zone to go with your family when your house is on fire, it's cold.
Yeah.
Don't be that person, because the fire trucks, they won't let you go sit in while they're running water.
Your living room and smut and all that black stuff.
Yeah. And then you'll need some people like ServPro to come and help clean your house afterwards.
We love ServPro.
We do? Mm-hmm. That was a cheap plug. Guys, we want to thank you for coming out and joining the Earlene and Steve show. And thanks to our friends, John and Jeanna. Thank you, guys. You guys were great. And we look forward to your continued service in the community. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for coming.